Hi guys, hope you're doing well. You won't believe we just started this section in our YouTube channel just simply in order to answer all the questions that I'm receiving. Guys, you won't believe I received so many questions related to Dubai, related to properties, and related to law and regulation. And a lot of these questions, they are similar, they're absolutely identical. So for example, like literally sometimes somebody would call me early morning and ask me a question, and the same day in the afternoon another guy would call me and ask me the same question. So I thought, oh my god, there are like so many people that need an advice, and you know, like sometimes the cases that they have, they are really urgent. They can't wait, for example, me to answer them within like after like 2, 3, 4 hours. Sometimes they need an answer now, yeah, because of the urgency of their case. So therefore we decided to start this section on our YouTube channel in order to answer every single question that you potentially might have about Dubai or in general real estate. Yeah. So what I will do is I'll be literally reading every single question. Sometimes there are the voice notes. I'll play the voice note, yeah, but we're gonna change the voice. Don't worry about it. So I'll play and then I'll answer every question live. Yeah. So let's go to the first question. So here she's asking a question. I'm sorry it was in a different language because some people they ask me in Russian language, some people ask, or the rest of the people they ask me in English language because these are two languages I can speak fluently. Okay, so the question is, Ahmed, we have a contract I've signed, which is a sales and purchase agreement, which is expiring today, and the seller doesn't want to sell this property. Like Ahmed, like what we can do? Should we go to RERA or what should we do? Now here's the thing. If the seller doesn't want to sell you the property, there are two ways you can handle this case. Way number one is you will ask the seller, if he doesn't want to sell, he has absolute right not to sell it to you if he doesn't want so. So if he doesn't want simply to sell the property, it's his right, it's his property. However, this leads him to pay the compensation. So for example, the seller doesn't want to say, yeah, sure, sir, no problem, but there is a 10% fine you have to pay to the buyer. Yeah. Now, for example, here you have accordingly two outcomes. Outcome number one is where the seller will tell you, yes, sure, I don't mind paying. It's my fault. I agree to pay 10%. So in that case, you need the seller to sign the letter which says that he is fine to pay 10% and he will give you the check of 10% and he have no further claims towards the broker and he has no further claims towards the buyer. He signs it and then you can cancel contract F and the seller can walk away. And then there is a case where the seller says, no, I will not pay any compensation. So I will not sell it to you. So the contract expires. So what to do in this case? In this case, you simply need to go to any notary and send the seller a legal notice. And by the time the buyer should prepare all the manager checks. Because if the buyer has prepared all the manager checks and these manager checks were sent to the seller, this is a confirmation that the buyer is willing to purchase this property and is willing to proceed with the deal. Now, if seller doesn't reply back or does not cooperate with the buyer, this simply puts a seller to be a defaulter in this case. So first of all, step number one, you need a buyer to prepare all the manager checks. Step number two, you need to send, for example, like today the contract F or yesterday the contract F expired, the buyer should send a legal notice towards the seller saying, hey, like for example, the meaning would be, hey buddy, like the contract is expired, I give you like 3-4 days before I go and file a case against you, please let's go and do the deal. So here the seller can respond back positively saying, oh, okay, let's go and do the deal. Or he can say, I don't care, you can file a case. In this case, the buyer can file a case against the seller. That's the procedure. You can try approaching, for example, the Dubai Land Department or RERA in order to block his property, for example. But in general, the buyer will have to file a legal case against the seller if the seller doesn't want to sell the property. All right, great. So now, so this was question number one. So I'm going now to question number two. I'm going to question number two. I'm going to just like simply read it. This question is sent to me in Russian, but I'm going to translate it. He's like, Ahmed, hi, how are you? I'm good, thank you. I have a couple of questions. I really hope to get your help. Sure, I'm here to help. So tell me, please, can a 19-year-old person purchase a property in Dubai? Yes, he can. Is there any age restrictions to sell the property or to purchase a property? No, there are no age restrictions. For example, if the person is minor, let's say he's like 5 years old person, so he should have a official representative. So this official representative by default is parents like mom and dad. And by the way, they should have either a birth certificate or they need a paper confirming that they are official representatives of this person. For example, let's say like there's a person 5 years old and he is represented by the uncle because let's say like parents, for example, passed away. So in this case, the uncle gonna need a paper confirming that he is a legal representative of this person, and the uncle will be the one who will be signing. And then I'm continuing the question. Very important to know, the purchasing price, it can be also a selling price, is $600,000 US. Very important to understand, does the person need to be 21 years old? Now see, here's the thing. If he is 21 years old, he can sign, he can go to trustee. Registration trustee means the notary. Yeah, he can go there and sign himself if he's a buyer. Now, if he's a seller, if he's not 21 years old, for example, the sales proceeds from selling this property would not go to the seller, let's say 5 years old child or 18 years old person. It will go to Dubai courts till the time the person turns 21 years old. Yeah? So you can buy and sell the property before 21. If you're selling and you're not 21, then the sales proceeds gonna go to the government and will be released to you at the time when you turn 21. So here one more important comment. So the person here highlighted the amount in US dollars. Now keep in mind, whenever you purchase or sell a property in Dubai, it can only be AED, UAE dirhams, and only in form of a manager checks to make it like everything correct and legal. And then it's a very long question, then I continue reading the second part of the question. And then he's like, and the second question, the golden visa. Very important to know for how long you need to stay to get it. Okay, so now for a golden visa, guys, this is such a huge subject. I'll have just a separate session covering everything about the golden visa. Yeah, just a separate huge section. I'm gonna have a separate recorded video where I'll talk about the golden visa. Moving on, and this is a very long message, by the way. And then he's like, tell me please, as per the latest update of the law, for which off-plan projects you can get a golden visa? As I know, lately the conditions became very flexible and you can get a golden visa even at the time of the off-plan, if the property is off-plan. Are there any like special conditions in terms of a payouts, in terms of a type of a project? I would like to know them all because my client is ready to purchase a property which is off-plan only in case if he's gonna get visa. Okay, now see, about, as I said, about visa, about golden visa, about the off-plan, I'm going to cover in a separate section because there are literally 4 cases when you apply for a golden visa. Case number 1, when you have a title deed, which means everything is paid out. The second case where you pay the partial, the property is ready, but you have a post-handover payment plan. Then there is another case when the property is under construction and different types of constructions. And the case 4 is when there is a mortgage. I'm going to have a separate section about golden visa and applying for golden visa because I can't just simply in just one paragraph explain how it works. Yeah, so I'm going to cover with the latest law updates in terms of a golden visa. Okay, now here I have another question. Yeah, so I'm going to just like play the voice note. Okay, so here she's asking a question. So the question is like, somebody has purchased the property at 3.6. So the seller is saying that he purchased a property at 3.6. But in the title deed, it says that the property was purchased at 2.6. So the seller is claiming he purchased it at 3.6, but the official document says that it was purchased at 2.6. And the person who's asking me a question is saying the market practice, the current market price is 3.6. But the title deed or the ownership document shows 2.6. I'm like, what can be the trap here? Now, simply, it's not necessarily there to be a trap. Sometimes, for example, let's say like I'm a person, for example, I'm buying a property, let's say from my friend, and I tell my friend, listen, like, can you sell it to me for 2.6? But I'm going to pay you 3.6. So some people, unfortunately, might use this practice. So this can be a real practice where somebody, for some reason, purchases this property at a lower price than the market price. This can happen. Yeah, this can happen. It's not always ethical, because some people try, unfortunately, to reduce the 4% which they pay to the government, artificially reducing the price. This is not really the best practice, and I don't think, I would never recommend you to do so, because it creates later confusion. It's also not fair because you have to pay 4% from a current, let's say, market price or the real price you're buying it for. So this, unfortunately, can happen. So somebody can, so the market price, for example, like 3.6 million, but the title deed shows 2.6 million, while the market price is this, yeah? And the seller is saying, no, I bought it at this price. And the person says, oh, what can be the trap? Ahmed, the seller is saying that he bought it 2.6, but he actually paid for it 3.6 and the market price is 3.6. Yes, unfortunately, this happens, and I don't see there any trap. All you have to do is just make sure that the property has no outstandings, all the payments are clear, and there are no any legal case against this property. Yeah, just do this due diligence, everything should be fine. So I'm moving now to the next question. Hello, Ahmed. The owner of the property is a company in free zone. What would you recommend to pay attention to in terms of the paperwork? What are the documents we need to request, and who should be present on the in the trustee during the deal? Yeah, so I'm just like simultaneously translating it. Yeah, so it's written in Russian, so I'm just like looking at it and then translating it into English. Okay, now, so here we have a case. The property is owned by a company which is a free zone company. Yeah, free zone company. Like what being a buyer or being a seller or being an agent, what should you pay attention to? So first of all, you need to pay attention who is the owner of this free zone company. So there are literally two type of scenarios. Scenario number one is where the owner is another company in Dubai or another individual in Dubai. This is scenario one. Scenario two is where the owner is the company abroad. So sometimes it can be like a free zone company can be owned by a company abroad. So in this case, you need a documents of the company abroad. You need obviously documents of a free zone company, like a certificate of formation or registration or a trade license or incumbency certificate or any memorandums of understandings if there are, or a shareholder list. So you need all these papers. And one very important comment here, the documents of the company abroad must be legalized and attested. You can't just like bring just A4 paper. It should be attested and legalized. Yeah, just to make sure that these documents you're bringing is not photoshopped, it's not fake documents. These are real documents. Yeah, so you're gonna need documents of the company abroad that owns this free zone in Dubai. You're gonna need documents of these free zone company, which I told you. Yeah, and you're also gonna need documents of the signatory. So signatory, if for example there are like a couple of shareholders, who is a signatory? Sometimes it can be, it does not specify who's the signatory. So in this case, you're gonna need a power of attorney given to this person who is eventually coming to sign it. Yeah, this is the due diligence you have to do in terms if it's a free zone, depending who owns it. Is it a local company in Dubai that owns this free zone company that owns the property, or is it an individual? Yeah, if it's locally owned, it's easier. If it's abroad, then you have to do you need to have all the legalized documents for it. Yeah. Okay, so the next question here, it says real estate management companies or offices, landlords representatives, are as well not allowed to impose lease renewal charges. The Dubai Rental Dispute Center, the judicial arm of the land department, has confirmed that the landlord or his representatives from real estate management companies or leasing offices are prohibited from claiming any fees at the time of renewing the lease with the tenant. And the person sends me this screenshot from Dubai Land Department website, and he just tells me, hey Ahmed, like please confirm whether it's true or not. Of course it's true. Of course it's true. Yeah. So for example, now there are there are like two types of management companies. The management company number one is where called a landlord's office, where for example they might own the entire building and then they're renting every single unit, or sometimes it can be they lease the entire building, then sublease the property. So in this case, those landlords, for example, like if you are in the tenancy contract, there are always like two fields. The first field is the owner, and the second field is the landlord. If you're, for example, in this lease agreement, if you're as a landlord, you're not allowed to charge any renewal fee. Now, for example, if you're a real estate agent, if you're doing some work, if you're doing some paperwork or some inspection work for a tenant and the landlord, and they agree to pay you, there is nothing wrong if you'll charge them your service fee if you provide this service to them. So guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. Thank you very much for your attention. Please support us. Subscribe to our channel, put a like, and we will be making these kind of videos answering your questions regularly. So on every our video, we're gonna answer 5 questions that I receive. You can write a question in the comments. I'll make sure that we answer every single question you ask us. It can be a question about Dubai, it can be a question about the law, it can be a question about the real estate or the properties, whether you're a buyer or a seller or you're a real estate agent. Yeah, so we're always happy and glad to share whatever we have got in terms of knowledge, experiences, and the best practices. Thank you very much. Stay tuned. I'll see you later.